welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute. This whole lockdown thing, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's put me through the ringers. Like, I was supposed to get my clothes manufactured and stuff, but due to everything that's happened, it's kind of had to die down and stuff, so I've had to literally make everything myself at the moment for my customers and clients. So it's been really busy, but we're back at it again. So in today's topic, I'm going to be talking about like come up with like the concept and how I come up with the initial research and how I kind of start to develop those ideas as well. So why this section is so important is simply because this is how people are going to associate your brand, how they read your ideas and what they associate with your aesthetic really. And for this section, what I would usually do, I would usually think of a concept. So let's say, for example, we're going to do triangles or squares. So I'm going to kind of show you how I would go about doing those kind of steps and do those kind of triangles and squares, and how I'm inspired by that, you know. I think it's really important to really just try and be as creative as possible and try and be as authentic to yourself as possible, because when it's all said and done, people really want to see you as a brand and what you can offer in the fashion world. So yeah, I'm gonna show you some examples of what I mean by that and how I would kind of generate the concepts and research from the circles and squares. So as I was recording, I was realizing how I've been putting on, like, my cheeks look a little bit chunky. Girl, I know. I don't want no one in the comment section saying that I look a bit chunky, because I know. I've been putting on weight during this quarantine, you understand? Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to show you guys how I'll kind of create this kind of triangle squares situation and how I'll go about it, and how I'll collate research from that. And I'm going to show you, I think I've got a sketchbook. So sometimes you can get inspiration from a magazine cover, and sometimes what I do, I just rip out the pages from a magazine, the inspo, and then I'll create like collages of what I like. So this was actually an old mood board. This is from 2014, so this is really old, because obviously I'm not going to show you guys my most recent projects and my most recent collection stuff, but I just wanted to show you kind of an example of, you know, where it stemmed from, the idea. And I used to write on my mood boards. That just used to be my thing when I was in university, just so that I can remember the ideas. So yeah, I was kind of inspired by architecture, the minimalistic tones and color waves, you know. So I just used to kind of work on those ideas. So hi guys, so as I was saying earlier about the shapes and the squares and the triangles, this is an example of like a square and boxes, and I'm going to focus mainly on this picture here. So let's look at this picture. So I'm going to just show you quickly an example of how I, you know, rearranged it and played around with the colors. So what I did, I cut the piece out and then I just readjusted it to the pattern. And as you can see, this is the original pattern and the original shape, and I just done that here. So what you can do, you can just continue to play around with the patterns until you get a different look. This is just some more examples, you know, of the shapes. This is the original pattern from the other page. So let's go back there. You know, so this is this one here. And that's just an example of how you can, you know, try and find ideas and draw for more inspiration than that, and then I'll start designing. This is a really old sketchbook. As you can see, it's like literally coming apart, but Oliver Fainskin was literally one of my favorite designers in the whole world. I'm gonna try and find a page that is, but yeah, I just really love Oliver Fainskin as a designer. I think he's truly amazing. bit of work there. This was like my second year. Oh gosh, the architecture of fashion. I just flipped over to this page and I just realised, oh my goodness, like it's really gone full circle, because you know, when I was in, this was in second year, and this is when I first started to take a little bit of interest towards architecture. And funnily enough, like my last job before lockdown, I actually worked for an architect firm, and I really enjoyed it and I really loved it. And I just feel like it's so important to really try and find who you are and be authentic to yourself and what you like and what you love the most, because it will lead you to an even greater path than you ever would have thought, you know. So for example, like even now in my designs, it's heavily inspired by architecture, and that's kind of why I wanted to show you guys, just really look into what's important for you. Like this is an old sketchbook, obviously, as you can see, it's old, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys, because this for me was the book that really inspired me and led me to the kind of designs that I do today. Oh, let me turn this camera around so you can see me. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to when I was speaking to you guys about this thing, so you can see me, you know what I'm saying, you can see me, you know. Anyways, yeah, so that's why for me I think it's so important and really essential to really focus on what you like to do, because even if everybody else is focusing on something else completely different, and you know, that's the new thing at the moment, focus on what you love as a designer and what you like to do, because it will lead you to where you need to be as a designer. I don't know why it came out so like you get what I'm saying. Yeah, so just work on what you really love. And for me, the reason why I like architecture is so important for me is not just because I like it and I like the buildings and stuff like that, but my granddad was an architect, and I felt like I've always been inspired by buildings and the characters of the buildings and the stories behind them, and that's kind of, for me, that's always been something quite dear to me, because obviously my granddad was an architect. So that's why I love architecture so much, and my stuff, that's why it's very like kind of sculptural, and there's kind of sharp silhouettes within my work, because it's inspired by that kind of concept of the sharpness of the architectural shapes. So yeah, that's why I like, just focus on what you like to do as a designer. When you're researching, really think, okay, what do I like to do as a designer? What is the best thing that suits me? Like I have a friend, for example, and she really loves chandeliers, and throughout her work she's really created some beautiful pieces based on chandeliers. I have another friend who's a print designer, for example, and she really likes wildlife, and she focuses really on intricate details in the wildlife, and she does paintings on the wildlife, and she has really beautiful prints on wildlife pieces. So really just focus on what you like. Don't worry about what X, Y, and Z is doing. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. If you like it, please subscribe. Yeah, please subscribe, like, comment, all of that, and I'll see you on the next one.